while all the attention is on President Trump, you are not really dealing with a Trump administration. You are dealing with a virtual Bush administration. So, for example, let's look at Kirstjen Nielsen, who is the current director of the Department of Homeland Security. She used to serve in the administration of George W. Bush. She was special assistant to the president and senior director for prevention, preparedness, and response in the White House Homeland Security Council. Then, the National Security Advisor is John Bolton, the ultra neocon, who went to Yale, just like the Bushes, and who had an important function in the George W. Bush administration. Then, Jerome Powell, who is chairman of the Federal Reserve. He became the Undersecretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance after being nominated by George H.W. Bush. And he oversaw the sanctioning of Salomon Brothers, and he was involved in the negotiations that made Warren Buffett the chairman of Salomon. And he was also a partner at the Carlyle Group and many other things. So, again, a trusted fellow traveler of the Bushes. Then, Supreme Court. We just had this big controversy about Brett Kavanaugh, who went to Yale, just like the Bushes, and who had a fabulous career under George W. Bush. So you gotta look that stuff up. It's really significant. Then, Secretary of Defense is James Mattis. Made a huge career under George W. Bush, and Bush was so happy with him that he promoted him to general to head the United States Joint Forces Command in Norfolk, Virginia. And NATO turned him into the Supreme Allied Commander transformation. Then, of course, in the background of the Trump administration, you have Henry Kissinger and his minions. And there are certain minions who are busy working under Trump. Then, the Department of the Treasury, the Finance Department, you have Steve Mnuchin, who is a member of Skull and Bones, this creepy Yale society, same as the Bushes. Then you got the Schwartzman, the powerful friend or associate of Trump, who is also Skull and Bones, and so on and so on and so on. The more you look, the more examples you find of fellow trusted travelers of the Bushes. And while we're talking about this virtual Bush administration, let's talk about the police state and martial law. Now, during the Bush administration, of course, you had a high danger or a certain danger of martial law being declared. This was after 9/11. And there was a lot of talk on Fox News and other places about more terrorism, especially nuclear terrorism. What's going to happen after a dirty bomb or an actual nuclear bomb goes off? Lots of talk about martial law, lots of talk about FEMA and even internment camps and that sort of stuff. And that, of course, scared a lot of people, and for a good reason. Right? People remember there's an internment camp system in America. This it kind of really kicked off, started under President Reagan, has been greatly expanded after 9/11. And you also had government lists, databases of troublesome citizens, troublemakers. And these troublemakers, during a state of emergency, might get arrested or might get placed under special conditions or might be just placed under special surveillance. Then, under President Obama, this sort of development continued, and you had more militarization domestically. Some documents leaked, some stuff was public. So this thing continued. And so, if you remember the old days when Alex Jones of Infowars and places like that, they used to report on this police state, or this coming police state and martial law. Alex Jones even made several documentaries on the topic. This was a huge topic, especially under Bush and Obama. But now under Trump, things are very different. Things are now very different in the reporting over at Infowars. Now, under President Trump, you still have the internment camps, you still have FEMA, you still have a creepy Department of Homeland Security, you still have all this crazy unconstitutional legislation. You still have all the problems, all the dangers under President Trump. Nothing has changed for the better. Trump has even spoken out in favor of torture and so on and so forth. So, and of course, terrorism is still a huge threat wherever this terrorism might come from. Just, of course, there's always a danger of dirty tricks and various intelligence agencies from all over the world involving themselves in terrorism. So the danger is still there. And I've spoken before about Donald Trump's Homeland Security personnel, some pretty creepy fellows that go back to the Bush administration and who redesigned FEMA's response to any large events after 9/11. The danger is as high as ever, maybe even higher, but Infowars and Alex Jones and some other places have sort of flipped on this topic. You've heard Alex Jones saying that these camps are really a good thing. They've been implemented or started under Reagan as a tool against the communists, against the left. And so in the future, these camps will be used against the left and the Muslims and whatever. And so that's a good thing. That's what Infowars said Alex Jones has said. And he even claimed that that in the past he got deceived by leftist propaganda, and just because of this deception he was against those camps. And now he sees it more clearly, and his sources tell him differently, and that's why he changed his opinion. And so now you had even Jason Burmis over at We Are Change calling Alex Jones out because of this, and you got various other places calling himself out. This is a very serious development, and we're going to stay on this topic, and we'll keep you informed about any further developments at FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security. But be aware, you're dealing with a virtual Bush administration, not a Trump administration. And even those candidates right now, like in Texas, such as Mr. Cruz, he, of course, is also somebody affiliated with the Bushes. Please comment down below, subscribe to this channel, and support us on Patreon.